Hello guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you all about how we could automate the process of video production system, especially for automating the reaction type videos. For example, you would have seen a lot of reaction type videos where creator reacts to another creator's post or reel or whatever, right? So I'm going to show you all exactly how we could automate that and produce more of reaction videos in a very efficient and streamlined way, which could save you time and avoid the editing process and so on, and make it much more efficient and produce more videos in a very less amount of time. All right, so this could be used to, some people run faceless Instagram pages with reaction videos. So you could use it for faceless videos, or even you could use it for your official Instagram or TikTok handle to create reaction videos. For example, if you want to react to any other creator's post, you could use this system to produce the content much faster and effective way. All right. So my name is Sanjit, and I run a business where we help business automate their business process with the help of AI and automated systems. So without any further delay, let's get started. So as you could see, this is the platform that we'll be using called creatomate to produce, reaction type videos. So you could see here that these are, different type of reaction type videos. You could see like in Instagram or TikTok, you would have seen the main content is here and someone reacts to it. And the other type video is they run a faceless page saying if there was a page dedicated to business or anything, right? And after that, they put some relevant posts over here. And next we have the main content and the guy reacting at the bottom over here. And similarly, we've got the main content and we've got the reaction and a satisfying video. So the satisfying video is just to help in retention, right? And similarly, we've got two other templates as well. So you could create as many templates as you want. These are like a few examples. Like you could put in any format that you believe could increase the retention, right? So yeah, these are the well-known formats that we often see in the internet, especially in short form video like TikTok and Instagram, right? So I'm going to show you all how we could do that on creatomate, how we could automate that, and how you could connect it with make.com, software called make.com, right? So firstly, so this is creatomate. So why once you create an account on this, and then you could come here and say new template, and you could just start from scratch. Say 9:16 vertical videos, and we've got a blank template over here. And after that, let me try to upload some random media inside. So I just uploaded this video inside, and then you could see that. So we got this video inside, and after that you could see this is the track at the bottom, and here is where you group all those tracks and all those media that you import inside. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate this one. Let me say Control C, Control V, and drag it down, and you can see we've got two videos over here. So now we've got this and this over here. So next, now what you could do is you could just make it like a template. So you could see something called here the source editor. So this one is a JSON file which represents the JSON, which is basically the JSON value of this entire video that you're seeing here. So whatever changes you make over here, it would just be reflected in the source over here. So it is basically a JSON code of whatever is shown over here. If I try to change this, like you could see the X and Y gets changed. So basically, whatever changes you do here, it would happen here and vice versa. So now I've got two videos of this lady over here. So let me put, some other video. So let me like, you could see here in the JSON called as source. So once I delete this, the first video goes away. So we could add on another source if needed. So I'm gonna come here and find stock footage that I could take. So let me take some random. So I'm going to say right click and say copy video address. So whatever video that you're putting inside this platform, you got to make sure that it is a downloadable or a streamable link, so that it is able to download and show it over here. So let me say Control V and paste it over here, and you could see this video just shows up over here. All right, and now what you could do is you could just zoom in and adjust as per what you need, and we've got these two persons over here. So basically we've just tried to create this specific template over here, the main content at the top and the reaction at the bottom. So this is the example of how this works. So let me put this lady at the top and bring this person at the bottom, and let me try to put a relevant video at the top. So let me go to my drive, and you can see some videos are here. Let me take this video. I'll say copy link and come back over here, and I'll try to put it inside. When I click on this, it will just show over here, and this specific object represents this video. So when I select the source, delete and paste the video link that I just copied from drive, this one would just show up over here. So now I could just adjust, I'm just trying to adjust this one. Yep. So and then let us move this specific track to the top. Just move it to the top, and you can see we've got this video over here. You're able to see the video. So I'm not sure if you're able to hear the audio, but yeah, so this is the idea. So right now we've successfully replicated the first template over here. So you see this is the JSON. So when I select this one, this JSON shows. So I could rename this to, I could say, the reaction video, and the first one as the primary or the main video. All right. Yeah. So this is pretty much it, and I mean the basic idea of how you create a template. So now we've got the template ready, and there are other parameters that could be changed dynamically, which are called the duration and so on, which I'll be explaining. So now let us try to put this one inside make.com. So for this, let me name this YouTube, and you just got to come back and come here and hit on project settings. And when you say API key, you would just have the API key, just copy it and go back to make.com, go to creatomate. You could say render from a JSON and add and paste the key inside and save. So this is how you'd be connecting Mate to make.com, which is a very straightforward and easy method. And after that, now we're just going to render from a JSON. So tutorial YouTube. This is the video that we'd be using, right? So like I said, this is the JSON of the video. So you could just copy this one and paste it over here, right? And when you right click and say run this once, it will just render and give the output that give the exact output that we see over here. So the goal is, like, if you edit the values inside the JSON, the ones over here also would change. So in our case, let's say that we're gonna put in we're gonna put in the main content at the top and the reaction videos at the bottom. So we gotta make sure that both are in the same duration. So let's say both are in a different duration, then we got to make sure that they align and meet up in the same length. So let's say the bottom one is 1 minute and the top one is just 30 seconds, and then we'd have like a mismatch, and at the bottom after 30 seconds, at the top you'd have empty. So you could see bottom, it is empty, it just disappeared. So it was because, like I said, we just got to make sure the timing and the duration matches. For that, we got to use this parameter called duration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this one, and you could see there is something called duration that popped up over here as soon as I reduced. So we could use this duration in all of these parameters. So if I try to reduce this, duration would appear over here as well. Right. So now let me copy this again with the duration, come back and paste it over here. Right. So now let me say set multiple variables. Let me say main video. And for this example, let us use a different video. So I'm going to go back over here. Let me copy this video, share, copy link, come back over to make, put this video. And after that, we have the reaction video, for which we could come over here and take another video. Okay. This, okay, let me take this one. Let me say copy video address, come back, put this up over here. Okay, and then we got the duration. So you just got to make sure that you enter a value for a duration so that it knows like how many seconds the total video is going to be. So for example, what you could do is you could main video is going to be your video or the video that you'd be giving inside the system. So along when you're giving the video inside the system, you just also need to make sure that you give the duration of that video, of the main video. All right. And after that, we could set up in a way that this duration matches up with the reaction video, which is at the bottom. All right. So for now, I'm just saying 15 seconds. So you see right now, I'm gonna dynamically map it in the JSON. So this one is the primary video. So I'm gonna put the main video as the primary video. That was the one. That was what I meant. And after that, in the reaction video, I'm gonna put the media to reaction video over here. Yeah, that's it. For duration, I'm gonna put the duration, the same duration, in both in the primary video and in the reaction video as well. So now we've mapped it 15 seconds, and let me see run once, and it should start rendering. And once the render is completed, it will just give us the URL of the final output. So there was, okay, I think there's a problem with this video link. I think I copied the wrong link. Let me go get the correct. Let's copy video address. Yeah, now it is the right link. Sorry about that. Let us try it again, and hopefully it should work. Yeah, so the render process is finished. Let's have a look at the output. Yes, so I hope you could say, yeah, this is the output. Of course, the second video doesn't make sense. He picks up the camera and starts to shoot. So yeah, but I just use it for an example to show that you could have the main video at the top and some sort of reaction video at the bottom. Okay, so this video was created by from this specific template shown over here. So what we did was we just copied the JSON, put it inside make.com, and then we just changed the mapping. We just changed the mapping of the source. So we just added a new reaction video and a main video, and also we've added the duration of how long this should be. So this is the idea of how this works. And yeah, so we've currently created this first template over here. And yeah, so also I'll show you like some other things to consider as well. So you could see right now I've used render from JSON, but you could also use another thing called as called as render from template. Okay, so for that you just got to make sure this, let me select this file, and you just got to make sure this dynamic is enabled, or else it would not show up over here. So let me say tutorial YouTube. So dynamic is not enabled for both of them, and it doesn't show up over here. But now what I'm going to do is come back, and I've selected the top video and say that this is dynamic. You could see that it would, let me say refresh, and it you could see that it would appear over here because we made it dynamic. The primary video, it just appeared over here. So this is the primary video, and we just made it dynamic. So let me select the second one, which is the reaction video, and let me do the same, which is make it dynamic. Come back over here and refresh, and now you'd be able to see the reaction video can also be mapped dynamically. Okay, this is pretty much the same as render from JSON, but I feel using a JSON gives you more control over what you could change and do the mapping compared to this one. Okay, and yeah, so apart from that, the other thing that I want to talk about is I think I've already talked about the duration. Yeah, I've said about the duration. Apart from that, you could see dynamic is over here. Then you could see stroke. So if you add stroke and let me say 50, some random inf, it went away. Say stroke, let me say 50. You could see the stroke, beside, sorry, around this video. So let me make it, sorry. Yes, you could see the stroke that is surrounding this specific video over here. So if as soon as I added the stroke over here, you could see we were able to see that in the JSON as well. So whatever changes you make, it would just reflect in the JSON, or whatever changes you make in the JSON, it would reflect over here. And you could just copy this and edit it from the JSON file over here, right? So you could just map it. So similarly, it's the same for all. So when I turn off the stroke, you could see the stroke over here would just disappear, and now it disappeared. So you could do the same for border radius, opacity, and after that the padding, visibility, and so on. And if you want, if you, let's say you're using a reaction video with a green screen, you could turn on chroma key and select the type of green screen that you'd be using. I think this standard one is enough, and the sensitivity. So you could set the sensitivity as much it is required. Like you got to import an actual green screen and test it out. and then whatever changes you do here, it will just reflect over here. Now when I say sensitivity is 50%, it just shows up over here. If I turn it off, it goes away. Turn it on again, it comes back, and it only shows chroma key color. But when I change the sensitivity to 2, it will just show up over here. 1% is the default value, so it doesn't show over here by default. But once you change it over here, it will just reflect over here. So you could just change, these as per your requirements. The aspect ratio, there are so many, but I feel these are what I did are enough for creating a reaction type videos, right? So let me turn off the chroma key because we don't need them right now, right? And for the duration, we'll be mapping the duration as well from there. And also, you got to make sure that the tracks of each video that you'd be adding is different. So let's say you just copy this specific JSON, which refers to the primary video, and I add it up over here at the bottom, add a comma, paste it over here. You'd notice that now there are two videos, right? Because I just duplicated, nothing else. Like, you could just do that same by you could do that same thing over here, but I just did it on JSON. But and now you see both are on the same track, which is primary video one is on the same track, this is on the same track. So you're just gonna make sure that you move it to a different track. Now number three. Now you see it just moved to a different track. So just make sure that the tracks doesn't mix up, right? Yeah. So let me move this reaction video to the top. Yeah. So apart from that, so you select on this video, you'd have these options at the right. And the other thing that I'd like to say is when I select the reaction video, that is very essential for reaction video is loop. Can you see? You could see loop over here. So when I say yes, what happens is that, let's say the actual length of this video is just 10 seconds and the top one is 30 seconds. I think the top one is, in this case, the top one is 15 seconds and the bottom one is just 7 seconds. So now when I'm playing, after 7 seconds, the bottom one would just disappear because it's just 7 seconds long, right? But the top one is 15 seconds long. So what I could do is I could select this video, come over here and say set loop as yes. So you could see that when I set it as no, it just comes back to normal. When I set it as yes, it just fills up the value with the top video, which means, like, even if the video is 7 seconds, it would just start to play first. You could see that this is the starting part of the video, and from this seventh and from the second, it starts to play from first. It keeps looping back. So this is essential when you feel that the reaction videos at the bottom is less in duration and the main videos are longer than the actual reaction videos, right? In that case, you could just enable the option of loop. You could set loop to S, and you could see at the left side in the JSON you'd have loop set as true, right? Loop is set as true. So this is pretty much it. So you could just copy this JSON and just use it for yourself. So I'm going to give these JSON values, some of the JSON value templates for free. You could find it in the description below. You don't have to take a screenshot or try copying this. So we've created this template so far, and I believe I've explained everything that needs to be covered. Yeah, so the other thing is, I think when it comes to render a template, I would suggest you to stick with render from JSON. But if you want to give this a try, you could. So in JSON, you'd have the option to dynamically edit the duration and every parameters. But over here, what you got to do is say show advanced settings and say extra modification, and we map in the duration dynamically over here. So we just need to copy this value exactly over here and paste it in the key and attribute and the value. I could say 15 seconds, right? And then it's good. So right now the duration would be just the overall duration, the overall duration that might come at the top over here, not the individual duration. So that one we could do it easily with the help of using JSON, right? So I would recommend you sticking with this instead of using render template. So, but it's totally your call. Okay, so we've done this, and yeah, so over here, this is just a placeholder for the database software or the database management system that you'd be using. So for example, let's say you're using or Google Sheets. What you could do is just put the main video over there and the reaction video over there, and then the duration inside that database software. So basically what I was trying to say is you could use, so this one is going to be just a placeholder for the database management software that you'd be using, whether it is Google Sheet or Airtable or whatever it is, to get the output, right? So it's like you could go and enter the main video. So you got to make sure that this is a downloadable link, like this is a streamable, a downloadable link. Like if you just copy a direct Instagram link and put it inside here, it is not going to work. So for that, what you got to do is we could use Rapid API. So you could use Rapid API, make a HTTP call, and convert Instagram into a downloadable link, and then pass it to creatomate, which would I'd be covering in another video. So this is specifically meant for creating, this is mostly related to creatomate and make.com. Okay, but let me know if you need that tutorial at the bottom in the comments. So the idea is that you'd enter the main video and the reaction video in a database, whether a Google Sheet or anything. So let's say you run a faceless channel where you're growing an account for, you're just trying to grow an Instagram or TikTok account with the faceless method, posting reaction videos that gain retention and gain engagement and followers, right? So in that case, what you could do is the main video would be the one that you just manually upload. For the reaction videos, you could set a list of templates. I mean, just make like a list of templates, like a drop down or anything. And let's say if it is like template one, then you could just send it to this one and do it in this. Then you could set up like you could name this each template, and then you could add a drop down, and once you select this one, the video that you'd be sending goes to this specific template. So if you select, let's say you select this one, like you got to select, keep a name for this, and you select that in the drop down, it would go and create the video in this specific template. All right. So this is when you're trying to use, like, you know to grow a faceless reaction type account, like posting reaction type accounts and gaining followers. In that case, you could use this method, like have a variety of reaction videos already, and put in an input primary video and select the reaction video that you want to use, and then you just send it to make.com renders, and it would just give you this URL, that and you could add a reply and send it back to your database, right? So this would make sense only if you understand, you already knew the basics of make.com and connected it actually with a database like Google Sheet or Airtable or monday.com or anything. But if you're not familiar with that, I would suggest you to first get familiar with make.com, and after that you come to try this, right? So yeah, so this is basically a placeholder for the database management software, from where you'd send the webhook into this, and then create the render, and then again get back the output on that specific software, right? So yeah, so you could create multiple templates. And the other thing that I want to say is, let's say I use this template is called tutorial YouTube. So I've used a 16:9 video at the top, I mean, sorry, 9:16 video at the top, which is a vertical video, and at the bottom I've used a 16:9, which is a horizontal video at the bottom. So you got to make sure that whenever you're using this template, you always pass the videos that match this default template. So this template over here is made with the top video being 16 is to, I mean 9 is to 16. So you got to make sure the top video is short form video when you're using this template, because this template was created with the short form video at the top. That is because the X and Y would change and be completely different when you try to upload, when you try to upload different aspect ratio video. So if you try to upload a 16:9 ratio, which is a horizontal video at the top, the X and Y would be the same as the previous one, and it would just mismatch, like it would be like this or something like that. So what I'm trying to say is, just make sure that if you've used the vertical video at the template, just make sure that you use the vertical video as the input when using this template. So let's say that you wanna use horizontal videos as well. Okay, in that case, what you could do is you create a separate template. You could either create a separate template or just find the values of X and Y and map them dynamically. So let me duplicate this one. So I've duplicated this. Okay, so now you see I've set up both of these videos, and now in this template, in this specific template, let's forget that the video at the back, let's forget that. So in this specific template, which is the reaction video RHQ, which is a duplicate, Now you could put in 16 is to 9 videos inside this, because what right now I've done is the top video is also 16 is to 9 horizontal, so you could add the same type of videos at the top. So you could either create just different templates, or you could just find the x and y, x and y, and the width and height and whatever is changing, and dynamically map them in make.com. Okay, so let's say if it is 16 is to 9, like you got to say that this video is 16 is to 9, and based on that you could set up some value saying if it is 16 is to 9, use this. If it is 9 is to 16, use this. You could just set up some conditions in make.com using switch or if conditions, and then based on that you could put those videos. But if you're a beginner, that would be very complicated. Instead, you could just create different templates for each type of reaction videos that you want to set up, and them accordingly. So this is one template that is almost done. So let me do the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this JSON, go back. Yeah, I could have also duplicated, but yeah, it's fine. So let me go to new and say start from scratch, 9 is to 16, create template, and come to the source editor and paste the one that I just copied. You can see it would just exactly come over here. So the source editor is just the everything, the video over here. So let me try to create another template. Okay, so let me try to create this one. For this is the main content. So the 16 is to 9 video is at the top. So what we're doing here is we're just making sure that this 16 is to video is properly aligned. Yeah, and after that, I bring this video inside and we could make it shorter and adjust accordingly. So you see this, the top we've got the main video and the bottom we've got the reaction video. So that's exactly in this template over here. So let's say some people just make it big. You just keep it as the size, everything is completely up to you. You could just select this, increase the size. Let's say you're using your video and want to add chroma key, add green screen. You could just select this, come at the bottom, add chroma key, and then you could just add it on the JSON, and it would just key out the values. All right, this is for this template. And let me do for the other template. The other template, the main content is at the top. We've got the reaction and the satisfying video at the bottom, right? So the reaction over here is kind of like 9 is to 16. So let me try that specific one. So in that case, what we'll be doing is we'll be pushing this one to the top, and then I could just duplicate the bottom one, and instead of this one I could just replace it with the satisfying video. So let me go try to find some I don't know if it would come up over here. Okay, so satisfying video is, I hope you get the idea, like you would have seen like a car is driving past, like some video games or some feel good videos that makes you, that hooks you inside the right. So that those are the feel good videos that you could find it on YouTube or any other place. So now let me replace this one with the video that I just copied. I just pasted it, and you can see right now we've got the reaction video and the feel good video exactly shown over here, the satisfying video. Correct. I mean, both of these, this is not a proper reaction video and this is not a proper satisfying video, but I hope you fully understand what they actually mean. They are available in the internet, and yeah, you could get them. Like for the reaction videos, you could either use yours or any other person's. It depends on how you're using it. And for satisfying video, you could find it in the internet. Like there are n number of videos. Let me show you one for an example, which would be, so these are basically an example for satisfying videos. So you could just take one that are copyright free and use them in the automation. Just download them and put it here, and you should be good to go. So this is how you'd be using automations for creating reaction videos. So yeah, so this is the idea of how this works. So this, I'm sure like this is not a very in-depth tutorial, but I'm pretty sure like I've explained everything that I've used to set up this for myself and an actual client of mine. So this is how this works, and so you could see this are the various type of templates that is set up for a client account of mine. So you could see if there was a page dedicated for a business, this is that template, and there, like these are those templates that are shown over here. And you could also connect, like you could also connect it with like a SaaS. You could also connect it with like a bubble, and then build it as a SaaS if needed, right? So Yeah, so I hope you get the idea now on how these works and how these it could be created. So you just got to make sure the duration matches to all the videos and just enable the loop for whichever videos it is required, especially the and the satisfying videos, right? So I hope you get the idea now. So if it, let's say if you want to add this one, for this one it is going to be much simpler. Just let me delete all these. Okay, let me put this video only, and now I just got to add text, right? So you could see text here. Select the text and you could type the text here. If there was a page ready. Okay, let me change the color. You could change the color and the font and everything. This is the color, and I think full white would be enough, right? And the alignment would be in the center, and like you could use all these options to position it. Like you could use transform and move this to another line. Yes, so in order to adjust this text you just got to come to arrange and then you could see size. So I could just put some, let's say 20, and it would give you this option to just arrange it in a proper way. If there was a page, I think I got to make it center. I'll say center over here. Yeah, so now it is ready. So similarly you could just make all those adjustments over here, and I guess it is in the same track of. Oh no, it is not in the same track. Yeah, it's in a different track. Okay, it is good. So this is pretty much it. This is exactly the template right over here. You could just, let's say you're running a page dedicated to entrepreneurs. So you could just, once you find clips related to entrepreneurship, what you could do is just feed in the clip that you found related to entrepreneurship, and then it would just give you this output, which like you could just directly post into the automation, I mean post into the platforms. So let me say how the automation, let me give you an idea of how you could set it up. Let me say like you come across like an inspirational quote or a video related to entrepreneurship. You could just put in that link of that specific, well, let's say it's on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok shorts. So you could put in that link, and you could set up an automation inside a make.com, where whether you put inside TikTok or TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, you could set up like rapid APIs where it downloads that video for you and give you the downloadable media link. Okay, then once it gives you that link, you could then just send it to creatomate to create the video in this specific format. And after that you could just directly add the Instagram module, add the Instagram module, and you could add the Facebook module. You could add the whichever platform you want to do with YouTube. And yeah, for TikTok it is not available over here, so that's why I've made a video already in my channel on how you could connect TikTok with make.com. If you not check that, make sure you check it out. I'll link them up over here, or maybe here. Okay, so, all right then. Thank you so much for taking your time and watching this video. Sure, like I've covered everything, and that is it. Like, it's pretty much the same pattern that we'll be using for this videos and this videos. So, I've already created like this video. Like, only thing was this was at the top and these both were at the bottom. I mean, I've already created this. So, if you could just move these both to the top and drag the top one to the down, then it would just become this, and they are all pretty much the same. And I've also shown you some examples in the video, and I'll make sure that I link some JSONs at the bottom in the description, that you could just, what you could do is you could copy those JSON. You could just come and create a new one, and you could say start from scratch, say 19 is to 16, create template, and you could just go to the source editor over here and just paste in the JSON that I'd be giving you. So let me say, okay, so I got to open creatomate again, get blank template new. Let me name this as blank template new. So let me copy this JSON and go to the blank template new, go to the source editor and paste the JSON. You could see the exact videos would just come up over here. So if you were to use some of the templates that I'm giving you, you would be able to just exactly get those templates that you could just modify and make the changes as per your needs. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'm sure like I understand that I didn't make it very detailed and fully functional, but gives you an idea on how you could take it from here and do that for yourself. But if you want a dedicated video, or if you have any sort of doubts, feel free to put it down in the comments. So I'll definitely answer each one of them, because I'm just a new channel. So I'll definitely answer each of the comments. So thank you so much once again. And if you want to work with me by chance, I think I've given everything below in the description. Make sure to check that out. And thank you so much. And see you in the next one. And make sure you subscribe, like, and Yeah, this is my third video, and I understand I'm not being very productive. I mean, productive or not very the best, not so the best in explaining things, but I promise I'm trying to improve. I will improve, and I'll make sure I deliver the best.